Alright, so now we're finally getting our recording of my kids doing their dryland. So we've got a little bit of a rowing machine here. It's kind of a low end, uses hydraulics. Um, Having the kids alternate between this, working their backs and their arms and their legs if they're doing it correctly. We'll talk about some adjustments that we're going to have Anderson make, and he does a pretty decent job of that. Coleman doing the stretch cords, just laying on an incline bench. The attach point is at the top of the door. You can order these surgical tubes off Amazon or just about anywhere. I've actually recently got some better ones. The TheraBand, you can get 25-foot, set up whatever length you need. The handles and door attach come separately. We'll talk about his technique. So if you look at Anderson here, he's first driving back with bent arms, and that's what we want to correct. We want to drive back with straight arms and then finish with that pull back. He makes a good adjustment there. Like him to come forward a little bit faster, using his hip flexors and his legs to get that seat forward as he brings those arms. If you notice right there, he's kind of a little bit behind his arms with his hips. We want those to be in front. Then what we want Coleman to do, and he does a pretty good job of this, get that defined catch up front where you're getting that vertical forearm, pointing those hands down. One thing that I want him to do is, instead of turning those hands out, you can see his palm kind of facing outwards. We want him pointed down. That's what I'm talking to him about right now. So he's going to try to make that correction. And then just pull him back past your hips. I'd like to see his shoulder blades a little bit closer together, so the shoulders are higher in the socket. But they're learning, and this is tough. So those are the things you want to look for. But yeah, this is just a BodyTrac rower. I'll put some links to these. Got this one on sale, about $50 off on Woot. One of my favorite websites. No, I'm not being paid by them. But it's a nice little machine. It works for me. It works for everybody in my family. So it's a good size and good variation. It gives them a little bit different exercise. This is I will link to the surgical tubing and the handles, as well as the bench. This is just a bench that I got it from Walmart. It is an incline exercise bench. They're seated the opposite way on it, obviously, but it allows you to kind of take the strain off your lower back when you're doing those pulls. So we're alternating between these two. We've got the 2008 Olympics, Michael Phelps gold medal runs in the background for some inspiration. And one of the things I'll show a video, is we will time it to the race. So that's going to be our next part of this video. I'll show what we do there. Okay, so you can see Anderson's moving a little bit faster now. What we're doing, he's got a little bit stronger bands, is I'm actually calling out the cadence to Michael Phelps' 200 butterfly when he won at the 2008 Olympics. And so he's trying to keep up. As you can see, his form is and range of motion have been sacrificed a little bit. This is his first time attempting it. He does a pretty good job despite that. But yeah, I'm watching the television and I'm counting the cadence and trying to keep it stroke for stroke. The idea is that he has to take a stroke for every one of Michael Phelps. He gets a time to relax, or at least put his arms in a streamlined position and stop pulling during the turns and the start. But we're trying to match just as many pulls and just as many strokes and just at the right tempo that a world record holder would do. So this is kind of my favorite activity to do with the stretch cords. It is hard. You can ask my boys; they were feeling it by the end of this. But if your kids are able to set this up, and again, the minimum thing you need is the stretch cords and the door anchor. You can kind of do a straddle position, and if I get a chance, I'll try to show that. You don't need the bench. The bench just makes it a lot easier and more comfortable. You can go for longer. This is a good way to just simulate the pull pattern, especially on butterfly. We also do kind of a double arm backstroke that I did not get video of. We did that another day. But watching videos and kind of having that visual in front of him. Normally I would have Anderson put it on like his phone or a tablet and put it right in front of his face, so he's actually watching the count and the stroke versus me calling it out. When we were doing this, I actually had the boys, one of them on the rowing machine, one of them on the bench, and they were both trying to keep it up with a little bit higher resistance as well. The bench was extremely difficult, did not go the rowing machine was very difficult, did not go very well, and so I did not film that. It takes some practice there, so I'm not going to recommend that right now. Definitely recommend the bands. Maybe start with the lightest resistance possible though.